Okay, give us a call then, 0845 105 2106 with your pre-match predictions. Rodri and Fishguard, thank you. Facebook.com/Real Radio Wales. You can text us 63344, 25p per text, plus standard network charges. Now, earlier on this afternoon, I caught up with Ken Burley. Ken is a sports journalist in Dublin, and he was definitely talking up Ireland's chances. I started, though, by asking him what the atmosphere was like in Ireland.
Well, I'd say one of heady anticipation. We are currently all trying to decide what we're going to spend all our money from that we win from betting on Ireland to beat Wales. Which is going to be a much-needed boost, I think, to the country's finances. But,
you're starting early, aren't you? Yeah, you're looking at semi-finals already.
Oh, well, we're looking all the way to the final, to be fair. But it's good to get a bit of a workout, work up a bit of a sweat ahead of the bigger test to come.
Yeah. A lot of pundits have been saying that it's a shame that we're meeting you at this stage of the competition, that both sides are worthy of a place at least in the semi-finals. Do you go along with that?
Well, no, I mean, I think Ireland are pretty happy to meet Wales at this point in the tournament because we know that Wales are a team that we can beat. It's like a scorpion. I mean, I would compare Wales to a scorpion. It's a small creature, easily disposed of, but still with a very dangerous sting, which you don't want to necessarily get. If it gets into your toe, it can cause you a problem.
Playing in the rain against Australia, I mean, that suited the Australians that night, didn't it? It suited the Irish more when you played the Aussies in the rain. And I mean, where's your try threat coming from tomorrow?
Well, the Australians had this whole issue of apparently it hasn't rained in Australia since about 1995, and they claimed that because that rain was like this foreign sort of alien substance that their players had no idea how to deal with, and that's the only reason that we were able to beat them. Whereas everyone could see what really happened there. The Irish players wanted it more. The Irish players were physically stronger, and that was ultimately reflected in the scoreline.
Well, listen, Ken, we're all supremely confident this side
that's
of the...
nature.
Yep.
It's the nature of Wales. I think that sort of blithe but brittle arrogance. And we've seen it many times, and we're harking back to an era of dominance, which really is, it's pre-decimalised currency. It's the Don Revy leads, James Hunt winning the Drivers' Championship, the Thrilla in Manila. This is all a long time ago. And I think if we look at more recent years, we see a clear trend of dominance to the team in green. And Wales, I know, are going to talk a big game, and they always do. And they'll probably sing a few songs and so on. But when it comes down to it, they're going to have to go out there, face those 15 Irish guys, and they're going to walk off there shortly afterwards, broken and beaten.
Give me a score. I can't believe I'm listening to this. Give me a score prediction for the morning.
I'll say Ireland 27, Wales 12.
As they say in London's East End, you're having a giraffe. Hey, Ken, listen, enjoy the game tomorrow. Thanks for talking to us. And as they say, may the best team win.
Thanks a million. Absolute privilege. I hope that your prediction, the best team wins, does in fact happen, because I think we're going to be pretty happy this side of the water.
You've got to admire, surely, the Irish sense of humour. 27-12 was Ken's prediction. That's Ken Burley in Dublin. Ken Burley, welcome back, Ken.
How you doing?
We are trying to keep our feet on the ground. How are you doing?
Oh, I mean, I'm saddened like everyone. We saw the tears of Brian O'Driscoll, and they were tears not for himself, not for his country, but for the game of rugby.
Ken,
and
what happened?
Well, I think what happened was the start of the match was such a surprise to us. There was a smell, an overpowering stench that assailed our nostrils when the match began, and it was the smell of want off Wales. And there was this desperation, this obvious obsession with victory by any means. The ends justifying the means. Was it Manly? Was it rugby? I suppose that's for Wales to decide.
Manly. Well, it was nice to see the non-threats of John Davis and Mike Phillips join in the try count, and also a massive game by Jamie Roberts, who I thought outshone, all the whole Irish backline.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Davis there, and this is really what it comes down to. I mean, to me, like a lot of Irish people, I'm a rugby idealist. I believe that rugby is it's a test of manly strength.
Yeah.
It's
well, it is now.
I mean, it's a kind of a jousting without armour, and Wales, to me, turned it into a knife fight. We know that it's about taking the straight line, ploughing into your opponent. It's not about, switching the ball around unpredictably like you're playing three-card Monty on a street corner. We saw Davis taking advantage of Irish sportsmanship. We formed a guard of honour to applaud Davis, never suspecting that he would cynically exploit the opportunity to run through and plant a try there. We saw Ronan O'Gara, a venerable old man of the game, polished, cultivated. What did he do when the referee awarded Ireland penalties? He took the approach of the old Corinthians. He scorned to score by such underhand means. He decided to just restart the game from the sideline. You contrast that to Priestland taking pot shots from everywhere like a gutter snipe.
Ken, listen, is this the end of the Irish Guard? Because you've had the likes of O'Connell, you've had Ronan O'Gara, you've had Brian O'Driscoll. Is this a changing of the Guard now? Can we expect a completely different Irish side come the Six Nations in February?
No, I don't think so. I think Ireland remained true to their principles. Wales did everything they could to ensure this would be the end of the Irish Guard. That Stephen Ferris is bone on bone in one of his knees. So what did Wales do? They picked him up and flung him to the ground bodily. It's no way to treat a man in his condition. We were true to our traditions. We know that we're going to be the same Ireland. We're going to be standing up for what's good for the game. The Welsh performance to me stood for brutality. It stood for cynicism, cold-eyed, remorseless killers. If that's the game that you guys want to play, I say you can have your poison cup.
So where does the try count come in then, Ken? 3 tries to 1. And what about the fact that Ireland were in the Welsh 22 for nearly 15 minutes and scored 1 try, and Wales in the Irish 22 6 minutes, scoring 3? Does that come into your consideration at all?
Well, this is what I'm talking about, the general sort of underhand nature of the Welsh play. Ireland always took the straight line, the honourable line, the manly line. Wales, were using means of trickery, means of deception. Talking a lot about that. I contrast the figures of the two coaches, Kidney, and almost a Napoleonic figure for Ireland, gallant and sportsmanlike, emanated from the bogs of Munster like a marsh gas. Wales import mercenary expertise from the other side of the world. Gatlin took them to this sinister training camp in Poland, where God knows what went on.
Well,
maybe we don't want to know what went on there. Maybe it's better we never find out what went on there. If something changed, is the only thing we can say. We have a saying in Ireland, a terrible beauty is born. And this was a bit like that, but it was a terrible ugliness.
Well, it's interesting because before the game, actually, the running joke in South Wales was the fact what you call an Irishman in the World Cup final, a referee. The anticipation of your courtesy was clear to the Welsh right before the kick-off.
Well, listen, Ken, we need to move on because we're really busy. First of all, obviously, a great game on Saturday, and it was a great game, and Ireland played a good game as well. Thanks for joining us on the show. I
just finished with some cautionary words.
Yeah.
Are you worried now that this lust for victory is leading you to betray your traditions, that you've got the glint of Webb Ellis gold in your eye and you're being corrupted? I understand some of your boys don't even drink anymore. We have a saying in Ireland, what does it profit the man if he gained the whole world but loses his soul? And, have you ever stopped to think about that?
You're a very deep man. Deep man, Ken.
Thank you very much, because I'll tell you what now, I didn't think about anything over this weekend as to how to get rid of a headache. Listen, lovely to talk to you, Ken. Thanks very much indeed for coming back on the show and for being such a good sport as well. Great to hear from Ken again. I know he ruffled a few feathers with you on Friday evening show, and your comments are coming back in again.